Hi everyone, TGIF. It's Flirty Friday. I'm Susanna, the date maven, and I just want to say thank you for joining me and my friend Dawn Monroe of ExecuTrain in this week's Flirty Friday. I'm a dating coach and matchmaker who works with growth-minded, forward-thinking, positive-minded professional singles across North America. And I'm really excited to be bringing today's topic to you because it is so stinking unusual. I really don't think any other dating coach or matchmaker that I know of has talked about what we are going to talk about today.
Well, and I think it's important too.
It is, because here's the thing. One of the reasons people get so overwhelmed by their dating apps and their online dating and all the different social things I have my clients going to is it can start to feel like work, and it can start to feel hard to manage the data, and then they also have the emotional aspect of the dating to manage as well. So today we're going to talk about how to organize your dating data, especially if you're a really active dater who is on multiple platforms, which if you're working with me, I'm encouraging you to be on multiple platforms. So I asked Dawn to join me because this is her area of expertise, okay? She trains managers and business leaders. What kinds of people do you train?
Oh, all kinds. Business analysts, accountants, financial analysts, admins.
Okay.
Just a wide variety. I teach Excel. I teach PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, OneNote, Project, Publisher.
Gosh.
And Access.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty thorough. It's a pretty complete.
I'm a Microsoft Office specialist, master level.
Okay. So if you're watching this, and probably if you're watching this because you're maybe single and looking to get a little more traction in your dating life, and so you're used to kind of tuning in for some tips and tricks about this. But I have a feeling that what we talk about today, there will also be some nuggets of knowledge you can take away that will apply to your professional life as well.
You bet.
So double whammy today, folks. Total double value. So some people who have a background in like sales or marketing, they will know what I'm talking about if I say CRM.
Yes.
Customer relationship management. So there are different kinds of software out there that people in that field can use to keep track of their leads and their prospects and where they're at in the pipeline. And then when they become customers, they're keeping track of how often have we touched them, how often are we having an interaction, how often are they buying, what are the cycles, what are the patterns.
That's the exact term they use, how many touches in the sales industry.
And I keep track of that too in my industry. So when you are dating online, it can be a lot of fun. It can also be a little frustrating for people who maybe they take it too personally if someone's talking to them or not talking to them, or they're not getting the response they want. Sometimes that can be tough to just dissociate from outcomes. One of the things that I think really sabotages people is the feeling of, I've talked to 5 guys today and now I don't remember like who I was talking to last, who do I owe a touch to, who's feeling left out in the cold. I told John about XYZ in my life, but did I also tell Brandon?
You need to take notes.
Yeah,
you need to keep track of that. And it, just like if you go to any kind of business networking event, you need to keep track of that. You should take business cards home and sit and make a few notes right away. And I say do the same thing in a dating environment.
Okay, well, we're on the same page there, girlfriend.
Yeah, we are.
So I had asked Dawn, and I haven't seen this yet, but I had asked her to kind of set up a spreadsheet.
I did. She asked for a spreadsheet. She gets a spreadsheet.
I'm like crunching the data, folks. I'm just geeking out here. And so I told her a few of the things that, like, okay, when I'm working with someone, we're usually looking at some different compatibility factors and lifestyle factors, and you know, there are a million little check boxes a person could check off if they wanted to. But what did you set up for me? So this is going to be a surprise. I haven't seen this yet.
So I used the fields that you shared with me that you would keep track of things. So a date of contact is my first column here. I'm going to zoom in a little
And this
bit.
would probably be the very first time they messaged you, or if you're on Bumble, you messaged them, the very first outreach.
Yeah, I would keep track of that first time that you make a good connection and are ready to move forward with that. I added a name column and I just made up some names. And
They're all J names.
I just went with a theme and I put their age in so I could keep track of that. And what city they were from.
Perfect. And this is important because I know a lot of my people, they just want to date locally, but then I also have a certain percentage of my clients who travel for work, and so they're dating in Atlanta or Austin or Dallas or wherever they're having to go for meetings and conferences.
I wondered about that, so I put one in from a different city. It's also, or a couple different cities. It's also going to be good for sorting later.
There you go.
To organize.
Because if you're making a trip somewhere and you're like, okay, well, I've got 3 days of meetings but 2 free nights, who do I want to hit up?
That's
for
right.
those
That's
nights?
right. So now you can sort and filter.
Yes.
I added the profession column to keep track of that, and then you talked to me specifically about assets and liabilities.
Right. And I wasn't talking about money or
No,
property.
no. So the way I understood it from you, assets are things that you really liked and found attractive about the person. So I made a column for that. It's just going to be just random notes in that area. And then I added some liabilities, and here's where we got a giggle. I think earlier there's a little warning there that that somebody's had a few ex-wives, so maybe danger there. But you also asked me about keeping track of which platform you were using, so I've added a column for that. And you asked also about putting some kind of interest level. And what I did here was I used a numbering system, just a 1 to 10. And then what you see there is I added what's called conditional formatting. So then she said maybe color coding or something like that. Well, of course I'm a nerd, so I went straight for this conditional formatting. If you've never tried that in Excel, it's up in here, and you could actually use these little icon sets. And what I did is as I created an icon set, whatever color theme or...
So it could be green means high interest.
Green would be high interest. They do a lot with the stoplights. So here's the stoplights there.
Yellow is kind of moderate interest, or maybe I just don't know enough about them yet
Right.
to really know for sure. Red might
Red
be...
is like, this is probably not a good one, and I could probably just eliminate
You
that.
still might want to keep track of those people in your database, because even if you're not going to go out with them, they might show up on other platforms. Maybe with the same pictures, maybe with different pictures, maybe with a different name, hopefully with the same name. But sometimes people are on multiple platforms, and so you want to go, that guy looks familiar. Where have I seen that face before? Oh yeah, it was over here, and he has a big red flashing light in my spreadsheet.
Yeah, so it's good to have something to go back on and see. I then added a contact column. How are you communicating? Are we texting with the phone? Are we using an app messenger like within the program that you met?
That's also really important, because that's where sometimes people start to fall through the cracks. So maybe I'm messaging someone on Bumble who I just started talking to, but I've been talking to this other person for a couple of weeks. We've already exchanged phone numbers. We're texting now. Or sometimes people will say, hey, will you get on Kik or WhatsApp or Snapchat? And so if you're messaging on another platform, especially, I've got so many apps, I can't check them all every day.
Right.
So that's where you want to be aware of where did we last speak, and maybe those people who are worthy of the green light, maybe you move them to your favorite platform, and then that way you're a little more attentive to nurturing the conversation.
Oh, that's a good idea. I added another just random notes, because as you have conversations with people, I imagine you just want to keep track of some of the details that come up. So I just added a few things here. If they had kids that I wanted to remember or something like that. Where they graduated from school. I'm thinking now I would add another column that says, what did we talk about? And so I could add notes for myself on what was our conversation about.
That is so important. You don't want to say, hey, how was your trip to Boulder, to someone who never left town and it was the other guy you were talking to.
Okay, that
that's
can get
embarrassing.
a little sticky.
Yeah, oh gosh, sorry. And maybe they have something going on in their life, like a friend or family member who's sick. You want to be able to follow up and be a compassionate person. And, hey, how is your aunt? Or how are things going? Or how is your daughter's graduation?
Right.
That kind of thing.
So once you have something like this, then you can use the tools that are built in to do the different kind of sorting and filtering. So what I'm talking about, I've set this up as a table, and if you've never done that in Excel, you take a data sheet like this, and you can go in and format it as a table. Of course, I did a pretty in pink for our love theme today, but you can pick whatever you want, and it does more than just turn on a pretty color. You're actually getting some table tools, and it gives you these little drop downs that you have on each column. So now I can quickly sort, or let's say, hey, I am going to go on a trip to Dallas and I want to connect with somebody I saw there before. I'm able to do a little filtering using that little drop down, and I'm able to pick just my Dallas, and then I can clear from that. I could go down and say, well, I'm trying to figure out who was it that I talked to on that specific app, and I can go in and pick just that specific app, and then I could see all the ones that might match that. So I would use it in that way. You could also then sort by your date and do nerdy things like that.
I want to jump in and say, if you have questions about what we're demonstrating, go ahead and drop those questions in the comment section below. We'll try to respond to those in real time. Now, obviously, Dawn and I kept it a little bit simple to keep it clean and easy today, but you could add a field for the person's religious affiliation, their political affiliation, if that's important to you. Maybe even where they went to college, or I don't know, what would, if you were single, Dawn, I know you're happily married, if you were suddenly thrust on the dating market, what would be the important attributes you'd be looking for?
Well, heaven forbid.
Right.
I would,
I'm only kidding.
I would say I would be looking for someone that's honest and trustworthy, funny, and someone that likes to do the same kind of things that I do.
Sense of humor is one that comes up a lot. So now that's a harder, as is honesty and trustworthiness. Those are harder things to sort of measure or ascertain a data point around just from the basic biographical information. You have to ask questions. You have to get to know the person to be able to sort of fill that part out. So this form also shows you where your gaps are. If you don't know yet if they're funny, if you don't know yet if they're honest, you can do some good questioning over dinner or coffee or ice cream or whatever to sort of get a sense of how have they handled things in their life in the past, and maybe play some of those getting to know you games or icebreaker games even, and then
I thought of some other things too, Susanna. I thought, well, what if they already use an app to manage their mail and their contacts? Maybe they do a lot of sales kind of things or keep track of things. So I also set up in Outlook. So what I did here, and if you're using Outlook for work, I wouldn't use my work account. I'd make a separate Outlook account for that, or use my other login for other mail. And here I'm showing my contacts, my people section, and you'll see what I did was basically make myself a template. I called it sample, and then I put a lot of the extra fields that you had shared with me. I just put it in the notes section, because you can do searches in your contacts, and any words anywhere in there would show up. So if I had a word over in my notes section, so see here, I've got it ready to enter on this one, but I've used it and filled in on some of these others. So I went ahead and filled that same data I had on the other, and then you could start populating it with other things as you know. There are ways, to customize Outlook views and whatever, but it takes time. I don't know that we want to spend that much time, and you can search on any of these items. Anything listed in here, you can search on it to find these people. At the top of your Outlook, there's a little search bar, and you could just type in, let's see, I think I had Yellow Lab on somebody. Let's see. Did it find him? Yes.
It did.
Okay, so there he is.
Uh,
Jeff, my made-up Jeff,
Yeah.
has a yellow lab, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that would be, so anything you put anywhere in your Outlook contact, then you could search.
Yes.
So same kind of concept. You could also make your own little section over here and just separate out all the dating contacts from my other business contacts.
I
and
think this
things.
is absolutely brilliant, and especially for some of us as we're getting older, our little short-term memory is not quite as tight. I might have a conversation with someone at a party or a networking event, and that is the only data I remember is, well, that guy was really funny and he had a yellow lab, but I can't for the life
I
of me
tell you
remember his
what,
name.
I go in when I come back from a networking thing and I have cards and I right away go through and I enter them in, and I will always add notes like what event and the date. I put the month and the year, and if I have someone in class that then I'm interacting with later, I put that they took Excel 2 in October of 2018. And then if they email me a year down the road, I can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember them. I also thought, well, not everybody uses Outlook, so maybe some are in Gmail. So I have that for you too, Susanna.
Okay.
You know, I'm ready. There you go. So here I just opened a Gmail contact, and you see you can have the same kind of things. You're just entering in all that data as you find it, their birth date and whatever. And then there is a note section, and again, I just copied and pasted in those fields that are the ones that I know that I wanted to capture if I was going to do this.
Is there a way to take a screenshot either of something on a computer or on a phone and drop it into one of these contact management systems or data management systems? Can you show me how to do that?
Sure.
So here's what I'm thinking, like you might be texting back and forth with someone and maybe something really, really good is happening in the conversation, maybe something really, really bad is happening in the conversation, but for one reason or another you need to save it, either as proof of something wonderful or evidence of something that, like, if this road continues, we need to, this needs to stop. So I want to know how to save that screenshot, because you don't necessarily want to have to retype the whole thing.
Well, let me just let me do this. It's wanting to log on me, hang on. And just a second, no.
Susanna, Eric Litweiler wanted to remind you that every day is a flirty day.
Oh, it is indeed. Thank you, Eric, for that. Eric has come a long way.
Let's see, okay, well there. So I'm just going to a screen, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with the snipping tool in your Windows. I'm just going to turn on the snipping tool that I use. If you don't see that right away, you could probably look in your start menu and look for the snipping tool. Let's see if it's in there. And it may be in the accessories, but let's go see. Yeah, there's snip. And there's a snipping tool there. So anyway, a snipping tool, when I turn that on, I'm just going to say I want a new snip. And then it allows me to capture a part of the screen. And that's something then that I can copy and paste anywhere. So I'll just say edit copy. You can also save it as an actual picture file if you want. But then I'll just jump back over to one of my, let's just go into one of these. And I could just click right in there and paste it in. And there is the picture, just paste it in. With pictures, I'm going to adjust the size of it, make it a little smaller. But if you captured a little bit on the screen, on like an iPhone, you can take a picture of the screen with your, whatever, the home button and the side button there. You get the picture of the screen, and then you could paste that in or insert it in to these two. You can insert images into your Outlook contacts as well. So
That is so handy. From time to time, a client will say, I was talking to someone and they ghosted me, or I thought things were going well and they ghosted, they stopped talking, they stopped responding. If you are screenshotting and clipping those images and saving them, sometimes that helps you to be able to go back and resurrect the conversation.
Oh, yeah,
So people ghost for all kinds of reasons.
Mhm.
Sometimes it means they're just not interested. Sometimes it means they got really busy or life got stressful. Maybe someone else who was a little more interesting came along, but that person may or may not still be around.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
So if you want to kind of revisit the conversation with someone who may have ghosted you, it's good to be able to know where you left off. And that's where I would
Oh,
use
I love that
feature.
idea. Yeah. I have a little gift for you. I brought a little
It's not even my
surprise
birthday.
for you, but I was out and about
Oh, my
a
goodness.
couple weeks ago, and I knew we were going to get together. So I saw this, and when you see it, you're going to understand why I got it.
So
but
exciting. It's not even Christmas yet, Dawn.
I know, but it's never too early for a present.
Oh.
Do you see what it is?
Yes, baby. Oh,
There's a
thank you
ring.
so much.
Yes, yes.
I love it. Let it be a lesson to us all.
For your desk. So
Yes.
every day can be a flirty day. Doesn't
Eric
have to
too.
be
Eric,
Friday.
every day is a flirty day, and now I can never forget, and I will always remember. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions or comments from viewers? I think this was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I am probably going to need to practice, because things like this are not always just like one and done.
I know.
I have to revisit and remember.
I know.
So, and I'm sure there will be other things as I continue to work with people that will be data pieces that will say,
You ever want to do a workshop with hands-on workshop with the group?
A great idea.
Local
So if you're watching now or tomorrow or whenever, if that would be something that would be valuable to you, drop a comment below, please, and say, yes, I would love to sign up for a workshop to understand how to better handle my dating data.
I bet even ExecuTrain would let us use a room if we needed
Bet they
to.
would, yes. Dawn, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This was so helpful.
Great.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Next week on Flirty Friday, I don't yet know who our guest will be, but I can tell you that it will be the last Flirty Friday before Thanksgiving. We'll be going on a break the day after Thanksgiving. So just that one more Thanksgiving holiday. I think there's one more Friday after that. No, the Friday, that is the last Friday.
I think it's it.
Of the month. December and the holidays are going to be here before I'm ready for it. So anyway, thank you for spending time with us this afternoon. If people want to get a hold of you for maybe more professional training,
Sure.
how can they reach you? How can they stay in
Sure.
touch?
So I have a business, Dawn Monroe Training. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And I contract regularly here at ExecuTrain of Wichita. So you can always find me around ExecuTrain.
Okay. And the other Flirty Friday shows that we have been shooting earlier this year, those live on YouTube. And so I would like to invite you to go to YouTube, type the Date Maven into the search field. You'll find the Date Maven channel, and if you would please subscribe, that way you will get notified of any time there's a new video with free dating tips and relationship advice that gets uploaded there. Of course, we can always connect on Instagram. I'm socialcoach_ICT, and I'm also on Facebook as well, the Date Maven, or just search Susanna K. Matthews on Facebook. And if you want to drop me an email and let me know if you have ideas for future Flirty Fridays, my email address is susanna@thedatemaven.com. Have a very flirty weekend. Talk to you later. Mwah.